Ever since acquiring Kevin Durant, the Phoenix Suns have had their fair share of scary moments, even despite the fact that they had a 12-1 record with Durant on the floor for them entering their second-round series. Well, I'm not too sure the Suns have had a scare as major as the one they're facing currently, as last night the Nuggets rallied back from down 8 points in the second half to take a 2-0 series lead over the Suns. And today, I want to break down what happened and talk about if the Suns have what it takes to come back from down 2-0. Also, if you guys enjoyed the video, then make sure to give it a like as it helps out a lot. And if you enjoy the NBA, then make sure to hit that subscribe button and notification bell. So last night, the Denver Nuggets got a hard-fought 97-87 victory over the Phoenix Suns in Game 2 of their second-round series to take a 2-0 series lead, and there was a lot that happened in last night's game. The first thing we have to get out of the way is the fact that Chris Paul exited the game with left groin tightness as the Suns were holding a 4-point lead with 4 minutes and 32 seconds remaining in the third quarter, and it really felt like that was when the end was near for the Suns. The other thing that happened is Monty Williams started Josh Okogie for the second game in a row, despite the positive results he got with Torrey Craig in with the starting lineup last series. The Nuggets are a totally different animal opposed to the injured Clippers team that the Suns faced in the first round, but why go away from something if it's working for you? All that aside though, let's just dive into the game footage now and talk about what the Suns must do if they want to have a chance to come back in the series, or what Denver needs to do in order to hold on to this series lead. The way Mike Malone seemed to let Jamal Murray run the offense in the early portions of Game 1, it seemed like he let the big guy, Nikola Jokic, do the same thing in Game 2. As you can see, he sets the screen for Murray and bumps Okogie before stepping behind the line for a nice three to kick off the Nuggets scoring. Then on the following possession, he shows off his skill down low, using post moves against Ayton spinning around, and then going baseline for a beautiful flip shot lay-in. So Denver decided to stick with the drop that they threw at Chris Paul in Game 1, and Ayton is going to have to be a key if Chris Paul does come back in the later games of this series, as while Ayton did a good job on this possession, he only had 4 points in the second half. In terms of this play though, you can see that the Nuggets wanted CP3 to shoot, but they have to remember that CP3 is very good at engaging the defense until the pass is open. There's 2 dribbles, he gets Jokic to commit, then he hits Ayton on the short roll. Similar to what they did in Game 1, the Nuggets decided to go with 2 on the ball versus Booker. The difference is, though, that Booker seemed to learn from Game 1, and he was able to engage Jokic early. He has to hold the corner until it's empty, and you have Murray who tries to hold his help, but the lob to 8 is right there and open for Booker. This is a great example of some of the fun little things that Mike Malone does and the smart plays that he makes for Denver. You have the flow into a Jamal Murray post-up, and you have MPJ who sets a post split for Jokic. The Suns switch that, and Jokic goes right to work versus Josh Okogie. Maybe I'm just biased as a Kevin Durant fan, but I do think we need to talk about his game IQ a bit more than we already do. As right here, he gets the screen from Biyombo, but he makes sure he engages Jokic and then passes to Biyombo, who rolls right to the rim. Durant once again worked to engage Denver's defense. Comes off the screen, he holds Jokic, and he gets MPJ to help. And the 5th player on the floor for the Suns is going to be the key, as Okogie has to mix in some makes as he misses here. But the Suns have to try and flow into some spacing as well. Denver kept working early to throw some different looks at Booker to just keep him out of rhythm for the night. The thing is here, you can tell he's thinking about 2 players coming on the ball. He drives to the left to get more space, comes off the screen and advances it, and it goes from Durant to Paul to Biyombo, and Biyombo has to do a better job of making this shot. On the following possession, Denver decides to go with the pick and roll, but the Suns recover. Jokic then catches it, and Denver almost goes with the inverted pick and roll. Instead, Jokic decides to just pull up for the shot, and he hits it. It's very interesting to watch Phoenix's defense and physicality versus Denver's movement on this play. Here you have a nice cut by Bruce Brown, but great help from Cameron Payne and good hustle from Kevin Durant as well. Phoenix stepped up their game plan as they showed a bit more activity versus Jamal Murray. You have Ayton who was dropped back, but he goes right over to Murray, and Phoenix has to recover and keep the ball in front. It seemed like Denver's game plan early was to mix coverages and work to throw Booker out of rhythm. Here you have the second unit throwing in some drops, switches, and help, and they were turning defense into offense multiple times in the second quarter. Even at the age of 36, Uncle Jeff, aka Jeff Green, was still showing he's got some bounce left in his legs. One thing you've been able to say about Murray and Jokic for years is it seems like they always enjoy playing off of each other, as right here you have Phoenix working to deny the catch versus Jokic, but all it does is open up this lay-in for Murray that was super easy, it felt like. This was yet again another great job from Denver. As you can see, Jokic catches it at the top, and MPJ comes to screen for him. Ayton and Okogie navigate, and then MPJ cuts back door, and Jokic is able to find him. Denver continued with the drop versus Chris Paul, as you can see here, and the defense gets to stay home, and KD had to go one-on-one and missed the shot. And Phoenix needs to do a better job if Chris Paul plays in the following games of making Denver guard him. The Suns' physicality was simply put just not there yet again last night, as Denver was able to tap into their movement, and right here you have elbow action that ends up in a nice pass to find the cutting Bruce Brown. Denver was simply put unbothered by Chris Paul's shot attempts while they gave him the drop. The Nuggets did a great job defensively, but they have to clean up the offensive glass, as they can't play this type of defense and give up a second look like this to Booker. Denver went back to their movement and had more elbow action as Gordon slips after the screen and catches it, and it was a good recovery from KD, but it still ended in a foul, and Phoenix can't afford these type of plays defensively. The coverage has continued to get mixed with Booker, as in transition he gets a screen with Jokic in a drop, but he ends up sticking with him, and this is where Phoenix had to work to hold Jokic accountable and hold the help, as now KD gets it, drives, and Jokic helps with Ayton being open. You could tell Phoenix tried to get more physical as they realized that's what they needed to do, but the one thing is they didn't get physical against Jokic, and he makes them pay. It seemed defensively Denver could truly care less about Chris Paul. Last night, Jokic showed a little bit of nuance in terms of pick and roll with mixing coverages. KD comes off the screen and Jokic is already in the drop, so he just works to stay in front. And you have the empty corner with Booker on the weak side, and the skip pass is open, but it's a great recovery from Aaron Gordon here. Then defense turns into offense. The Suns continued to go to this play, and it did yield good results for them, as you had Paul with the dribble handoff to Booker, and you had the quick double pick and roll with Jokic dropping back and Booker able to get some space to hit this shot. This was one of the most unfortunate things of the whole game for the Suns, as right here you see Chris Paul's finally starting to get some rhythm versus the drop. He has Gordon on him, explores the face, and he gets the shot fake and then goes up for the jumper he hits, but the only problem is 3 minutes later, Paul ended up getting injured and leaving the game. Jokic simply put just ate DeAndre Ayton alive in the post last night once again, as you can see here. Denver continued with 2 on the ball versus Booker. Here you have Jokic who stays back, but he was sliding to stay in front, and the big difference compared to the first half is the work that Booker had done to engage Jokic and Denver's defense. He drags this out, so there's 2 on the ball and it holds. The help has to hold on Ayton and KD, and they have the skip to Chris Paul, then the extra pass to KD for the three-pointer that falls for Phoenix. Booker once again in the pick and roll was able to hold Jokic showing, and he keeps 2 on the ball, with KD spaced in the weak side corner, and you have Braun there with Ayton, and you have to work to get back out, and Ayton's wide open. Mike Malone adjusted to keep Jokic out of the pick and roll with Green on Biyombo and Jokic guarding Payne. The Nuggets switched the pick and roll, and Devin Booker got a pretty bad shot attempt, but it ended up falling for him. Then to end the quarter, Jokic once again went to work in the post. The only difference was this time he ate up Biyombo. Phoenix tried to get physical with Jamal Murray being off the ball. He gets the ball, engages Landale, and you have Jokic who's rolling. The defense helps. Then Gordon goes from a screen to a cut, and you have the skip pass to Caldwell-Pope for the 3-ball. One thing I highlighted and talked about majorly in my last video is how Phoenix gave up beautiful pocket passes from Murray to Jokic, and they did the same thing late in last night's game. Jokic ended up matched on Okogie, and the Suns used him as a screener, but you had Jokic up, and he recovers, and it ended up being a 1v1 with Booker and Caldwell-Pope. You have great defense here as Okogie screens for Booker. You have Denver who switches after that, and you have KCP who waits until Okogie releases and then comes back to kick Jokic out of their matchup. KD tries to take it one-on-one, and look at the help that gets shown by Bruce Brown and Gordon. In my last video, I talked about it being the Jamal Murray show in the second half to help Denver get the win. And right here, you can see KCP comes off this beautiful screen to hit this 3-ball. And then on the following play, you have Jamal Murray come off the screen for this tough jump shot. And right here, he gets the beautiful pass to Jokic that pretty much sealed the deal in last night's game. So So as you can see, the movement on offense as well as the defense from Denver was just too much for the Suns to handle. And you could honestly say the same thing about their Game 1 performance as well. I've talked in the past in previous videos about how the Suns had the better starting five, but how the depth of Denver could really cause problems for them, and it seems like that ended up being one of the many factors as to why the Suns find themselves down 2-0. I'll be completely honest, I would love for this Suns team to come back and win this series, but I just don't see any way that's happening at this point. Even if Chris Paul does tough it out and come back, he's had his own struggles against Denver's defense, and I'm not too sure how he'd truly be able to help them. It seems after years of dealing with injuries or simply running into better teams in the playoffs that this might finally be the Nuggets' time to shine. And while they still have their fair share of tough teams to watch out for in front of them, it seems like they're in the driver's seat currently to control their own destiny. Anyway, I want to know what you guys think about the Nuggets or the Suns, this series between the two teams, or anything we talked about or having to do with either team down below in the comment section. So let me know your thoughts down below. If you liked the video though, then please give it a like as it helps out a lot. And if you enjoy the NBA, then make sure to hit that subscribe button and notification bell. That way you stay up to date with all the future content on my channel. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. I'm SCJ and I am out. Peace.